This is Henry Alonso Myers.
And this is Akiva Goldsman, and you're listening to Open Pike Night.
It's a lot like licking the wrong lizard.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New Worlds podcast where your personal logs are the prime directive. I'm your host, John T. Bolds, here today with some amazing guests on stage and in the studio for our annual Showrunner Retrospective of Strange New Worlds, this time discussing Season 3. I'm joined today by my stalwart companion through these trying times, the Pelia to my Scotty, Cameron Harrison.
I also don't enjoy mandatory meetings.
And unfortunately, our co-host Jesse could not be here. He's getting a little too addicted to mysterious wormholes and new friends on the other side. But tonight, our guests, those who carry the weight of Strange New Worlds on their shoulders, are here with us. Please welcome Akiva Goldsman.
Hi.
And Henry Alonso Myers.
Hi there.
It is great to have you guys back. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
And thank you for making Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, seriously.
Happy to make it.
Without you, there's no Open Pike Night. It would be a very weird podcast.
Discussing what could have been if this had never happened. So it did happen, and man, we are huge fans, and our callers are huge fans, and we're going to start with one of the calls. Here is our friend Matt.
Hey, Open Pike Night. It's Matt from the Prove It To Me podcast. To Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Myers, I can only say thank you. Congratulations on a successful Season 3, and congratulations on the creation of an amazing series of Star Trek. To many of us in the Open Pike Night community, Strange New Worlds has been the series of a lifetime. The barriers broken, the thoughtful reflection on both our world and the Star Trek universe, and the well-crafted embedded love letters to fans have had such a tremendous, positive impact on me and many others, I'm sure. A lot of folks talk about the similarities between this series and the original series, and sure, I think a lot of the mechanical elements are evident, but for me, this is my connection to what it must have felt like to be a fan of TOS as it was airing. It is impossible to overstate the emotions, the connections to the characters in the show, and the found friends through fandom that I have experienced over the last few years watching this show. So thank you. I hope you have the chance to realize what this show truly means to us. I can't leave this without a question, so I'll ask. What has been one totally unexpected but extremely positive impact you have experienced in making Strange New Worlds? Again, congratulations and thank you. Live long and prosper.
That's an incredibly sweet thing to say. That was really nice.
We started with the one to butter you guys up with.
Yeah.
They're all scathing after that.
It's gonna go rough. Wow. Well, I feel like this all started with Akiva, so I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to push to you, but I feel like that's the.
You just totally pushed to me.
I did. Well, I mean, you wrote the pilot. It was like I feel like this. I came on to help Akiva run the show that he had imagined, and he was kind enough to ask what I wanted to bring to the table. I guess the surprise for me was you never know what the cast or the response is going to bring. You only know what you're gonna do. What you're hoping it will be. For me, the biggest surprise was that the more stuff that we brought to the cast, the more crazy things that we asked them to try, the more they didn't push back on it. They encouraged it. They wanted more. They really started to. They wanted to try different things. So I feel like that was you never expect that in a new series. You expect the series to kind of stick to the glue that you start with. And this one is it has grown, and the cast has really brought a lot to it.
I think that was very moving, and the buttering up strategy has entirely worked.
Okay.
Done. I mean, for me, what was really pleasing and surprising, not in that it wasn't what I had hoped for, but surprising in that it turned out to be true, is in large part, I was reminded that in order to make something that has a history and is loved by many, you must love it, and you must make something that you would love and believe that there are enough fans like you who will love it too. And that all the calculus in the world of trying to figure out why a thing works or doesn't work just pales in comparison to following the contours of what you care about if you care about it.
So show running is just desperately trying to find people like you, that you're not alone in the world.
It is, and hopefully they will pay you to find them. So what really?
Weirdly, the job ends up being you turn it back on yourself and you say, "What's the kind of thing I would like?" Because you can't do this imagining that, like, well, I'm trying to figure out what other people would like. You really have to use yourself as the model, and hopefully, they will like the things that you like too.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, plenty of them do. And you have spoken a lot about the challenges and changes that the strike brought. But let's start back before all that, when you first began looking at season 3. What did you want to accomplish with the season?
We wanted to get them to continue to like us because they liked us in season 2.
When you're working on a season, are you kind of imagining like, this is what we're going to say with this season, or this is what this season's going to be about? Or are you just kind of making 10 really good episodes and then kind of finding the through line?
I think both. I mean, I think we're doing both. I think season 3 was more challenged because it stopped and started because we had staffing changes due to the strike. So I think that, we certainly kind of had an idea in there around sort of a Cthulhu-like evil, which took the form of the Vesda, and, a theme that I continue to harp on, which is, as we rotate our evil characters into a Star Trek-like cradle of being understood and therefore not evil, we have to continue to keep evil in play because A, I believe in it, and B, it's good storytelling, especially on a galactic scale. So I think we started with that as an underpinning idea, along with, oh God, get us out of the Gorn. We can't afford to make them good.
and yet we kept doing it.
Yeah. But then I think it just diverged, and also we do that thing that is our folly, which is there another way, another genre, another lens through which to see our characters and our story.
The other thing we do is we try to look at things that were one-offs, things that were, I want to say, when they were in the initial series, that were not designed to be like a lasting history of these characters. I think that they just approached it like, we need another episode this week. What are we going to do this week? Oh, this is the one where we introduced that, Chapel has a significant other who is, So the thought was, like, take those and try to imagine what they would be like if they were a real character connected to someone for a long period of time. Like, if you're introducing someone who is her significant other, how do you get more story out of that? How do we introduce that character and find Chapel to be an interesting, challenging person to have gone through this? How do we throw it into what we're doing with Spock? How do we make it interesting for our characters, like emotional stories?
And we chase, as you can see, a lot of love stories and a lot of emotion. And, one thing that we have that, has not been as much of a constant in other Trek series where Spock has existed, be they on TV or in the movies, is we really hold to this idea that Spock's life is a waveform, and that although we happen to meet him at his most logical, even when we look at the span of the episodes and movies as they exist today, we see that Spock was emotional, logical, in between, at various phases of his life. So we're right in the heart of what we might consider a kind of adolescence for him, where there is a tremendous amount of emotional lability. And that's a really, we can be very opportunistic about that, because fundamentally, it's candy that's ours so far alone. Generates a lot of fun story, especially sort of sexual, romantic tension and violence, and all the good things.
I think that weirdly there's that back then they tended to see him as this person who was like the other, and we have just dialed it a little bit more towards he's one of us. He looks like us. He is one of us. He experiences emotions in the way that we experience them, but he comes from two backgrounds. There was just rich stuff there that I feel like they barely touched on, and we felt like we could do more out of it by not having him know who he's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's funny how the fans were like, "Oh, that other, that's who we glom onto. That's who we're identifying with."
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
I don't think I think that our part of it's just I think our modern culture, we wouldn't see him that way. We would see him. We would see his point of view, and that was a great opportunity.
Well, when you're crafting these stories, one of our callers did want to know kind of just like the nuts and bolts of how you plan out the season. Are there Post-its on a board? Are there color-coded character arcs? When do you hand out the episodes to writers? Can you just give us kind of like the quick, practical lesson of how to plan a season?
We do have colors on a board, and we do have character arcs that are worked out through over the whole season, and we know roughly where we kind of want them to be. We try to talk broadly about them beforehand, and then we try to figure out some of the episodes, and then we try to figure out what episode would lean best in, what character would be best as the sort of central point of view of that episode, and is that a good place for some of these things to cross? A little bit it's of like kind of tossing these things back and forth and seeing which way the wind blows.
And ironically, at the end of each year, we have this board where the episodes that we couldn't find a way to fit into the season exist. And we are entirely confident that they will make their way into the next season. And nary one has. I don't know why.
Well, we were going to ask that question, but I guess I'd answered it.
Yep. Because you had mentioned that last time we talked, and I'm picturing like, you guys could do so well just publishing a book of just photos of Post-its of untold Strange New World stories at the end of all of this. Be like, hey, here's what you didn't get to see. Sorry.
Tribbles in the Niven Doctor Who tie-in.
We'll put a pin in that.
Only nerd laughter. You know that, right?
What's that?
Oh, that was only nerd laughter.
Oh yeah.
As for the figuring out who is going to write everything, I mean that's always we every year we try to do something a little bit different, and one of the things that we try to do is find the writers who seem most connected to that given episode or story or idea. And put it in their hands. The goal is that you find a lot of other people across the board who are very talented and that will bring that to the show, and that you help move it along so that it lands in the show and that people get to see it. And that goes from the writers to to our production, to our post folks, to our VFX people. It goes across the board to a lot of people.
Well, so you make all those best laid plans that you talked about, and then of course this season there was the strike. So, and I think it was like a day from shooting. Is that right?
I think it was 2 weeks. I don't
2
know.
weeks.
Maybe it was
Pretty close. Yeah,
it was close.
So as Akiva said last time, I mean, things must have felt complicated because you said it was a righteous strike and it had to happen, but it was very close to, your baby starting to walk. Like when you found out about it, what were your thoughts? Like to kind of take us into that moment.
We only support our writer brethren.
It's all out of our control. We don't see these things as specifically related. You're working until you stop, but you're not. It's like a giant storm happens. You can't say, oh, I don't like a storm.
Right.
It's a storm, and you're all in it. You try to live through it.
But does your brain start going into like damage control, or is it a little bit like Bart Simpson getting a snow day before he has to study for his test? And you go, well, maybe there's some silver linings here.
So, it's interesting because momentum is part of creativity, not invariably, but typically. And so what happens is when you're putting together an object, you're driving forward on many fronts. And the closer you get to production, the more multifaceted those drives are, right? And so the number of little threads, teeny nerve fibers that connect you to the object as it's being formed are, they're growing and they're getting more durable and they're getting more energized, and that's feeding the object, and it's feeding back to you. It's reciprocity. That's why it's creative. And when that gets abrogated suddenly, right, all those little fibers curl up and die, right? You can't possibly spend weeks, months absent that connection and have it become it's going to fall fallow to some extent, right? So you have to try again, and then some things that worked, and some things that don't. And by the way, there's stuff you don't even remember. Then people change. Also, mood states change. Your worldview changes. When you make a thing, it is in more than you know, often in result of the context that you're in, historically, culturally, emotionally, and when those things shift tremendously in the middle of making, it fucks you up.
I mean, season 2 came out while we were on strike, but we had done almost like 90% of the work on it already, 99%. It was just sitting around, but we didn't end up talking a lot about it. We didn't go to Comic-Con. We were limited because of working with our guild and what we could do.
Henry and I sat around and got drunk. And we read each other comic books. That was our Comic-Con.
It was great. It was a delightful it was great flashing back to some X-Men stuff I hadn't read in years.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know how good Days of Future Past is
until you
read it.
It's so good. It is so good.
That's what we're looking for. Comics and drinks. I gotcha.
Yep. Exactly. We do have some more calls. Let's hear from our friend Michi.
Hi guys, this is Michi. First of all, I love season 3. It was a real roller coaster ride for me. It has my new favorite episode of all seasons in it, which is Shuttle to Canforri, and my new comfort episode to brighten up bad days, which is 4.5 Vulcans. So I'm quite happy with this last season, but there were lots of big reactions online to some episodes in particular. So my question is, what reaction, positive or negative, was the most surprising or unexpected for you? I bet it was a reaction to Una's hair and Shuttle to Canforri. And is there anything you wished you could have done differently but just weren't able to at the time for whatever reason? Can't wait to see season 4. Till then, have a great day.
Is there anything you want to say about Una's hair and Shuttle to Canforri?
There's so much more to that hair than you will ever know, and
it was weirdly more challenging than you would expect.
So
yeah, I will just say it's really hard to do anti-gravity stuff.
That was my prediction.
Good call, Kim.
It looked good. I was just watching that episode last night. I wish you could do more anti-gravity in Star Trek.
I know. I wish we could too, but boy, is it like it's a lot of it's I'm amazed at some of the stuff we have done, but frequently you do it and then you go, boy, that's like a fraction of what I wish we could have done or what we had planned. It's we do a lot of stuff at the level of films and on the show, but there's some things that are just really, really hard, like a little too hard.
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up on Henry, and then we'll answer that lovely human's question. There are things that we really, we can nail. We can nail visual effects. We can nail. I'm very proud of the work we do on our AR stage. I think we're very, very. I think we're very innovative. I think we use it in ways that other people don't. We're not just like, hi, we're going to strap you to a blue, gurney and have the walls shoot by. Casting no aspersions to any of our sister shows, but When it comes to wire work, we're limited. We don't have our stages are not rigged for that. A big stage, you're going to have a grid and you're going to, so we have to do that in a way that's very labor intensive. We don't have a location budget, hardly. The truth is we don't really leave, so there are just things we don't do. We just do a lot of things well enough to hide them, we hope. But certainly one of the things that, would be sort of, you would think, de rigueur to a show that takes place in space is Loss of Gravity. We're very sparing. Boy, we have a lot of magnetic boots. Slow magnetic boot walk. But I think that as show creators, and also as show creators who work without the real-time feedback of what one used to have it in television, I think it's been interesting to watch the tolerance, affection for, and intolerance. I think what's been interesting to see is how people have reacted to the outlier episodes. And what I refer to as those that are not straight ahead sci-fi action or even sci-fi horror, which I think gets sort of sci-fi action adjacent. So as we go into comedy or fantasy, some or musical, some people are delighted and others are frustrated. Wait, that's not my Star Trek. So, I think that's been interesting. Earlier, I was talking about how fundamentally all we can follow is our own internal compass when it comes to determining what fans may or may not like. This is where ours may diverge slightly. We are probably a little bit more labile. We're probably a little bit happier to try something, say, Muppets, than others might want us to be, but I guess we'll see.
Looking forward to it. I was going to say, one thing you do really well is alien puppets also. Just you've had some good puppets in the show.
Oh, so good. And you have a new toy to play with this season, one Montgomery Scott. Were you guys excited?
It's a human
what
being,
were you excited
not
about
a toy.
with bringing it? Yeah. What was exciting about bringing Scotty in as a pretty much full crew member?
Martin is a gift. I mean, that guy is one of those actors who can hit comedy and drama with like the same level of strength every time. Like it's he can always be funny. He can always be tragic. He can always be like, he can do any turn. It's really, really terrific. I think a lot of it's just been about we want to give that character a chance to breathe and figure out who he's going to be. Don't make him the person you expect. Let's be surprising. I mean, we made a big deal out of when he drank for the first time. No, I'm not a big drinker. Things like that. Like those are they show you that life and time often are the things that allow us to transform. That was a lot of fun.
Akiva, how about you? Did you have any special plans for Scotty when you knew that you were going to be able to introduce, quote unquote, this new character?
No, I think that, as Henry said, we're looking for the humans they are before the humans they become. So they're young, and as Henry said, Martin's a delight, and also as Henry said, we are really fortunate to have this cast, and so sometimes we're chasing them, Martin just said something the other day. We were at Comic-Con, and he was like, it would be funny if blank didn't understand my accent because blank actually doesn't understand my, it's like, that's just a great idea. We're going to write that in, obviously, and we get a lot of that, which is really nice, and it's free. We don't have to pay them. They don't want story credit. I mean, sometimes a couple singles on the side. That's it.
The other thing was him and Carol are such delights to put together. Like they just bounce back and forth. They really work well together. So it was fun to put them on screen.
He had some good.
It's definitely fun to watch him on screen. Yeah,
and he had some good Carol stories. His first big show, and is being put up with this icon of cinema.
Yeah, I mean, we're very lucky to be able to work with her. She has this incredible history, and you spend time with her, and it always comes out. Like there'll be a moment when she does this. She'll come to you before and she'll say like, I don't know what's going on in the scene and I can't deny this. And you're like, wow, really? Is that? And then she does it and it's incredible. And you're like, oh, okay. This is how she knows how her performance works. She has to follow a guide that she has created for herself. It always works. You just have to lean into whatever she needs. She's really great.
And it always works. Like she just always works. Like she's so much fun to write for.
Yeah.
Because she's going to nail it. And she brings her mother to the premiere. This is not a joke.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's amazing. Like she's an extraordinary human.
She also it's weird. The thing that she did a lot of great stuff this season. The thing that really sticks with me is there's a moment when she talks about the Vesda. I think it's in episode 5, and it's such a great piece of drama acting. It's so great. Like it sticks with me. It's like my favorite thing that she did. She genuinely makes you terrified of this.
I was talking to Davey about that, how she's there for whenever you need a joke, whenever you need a button to a scene, but then you need someone to just convey the horror of this moment. Oh, she can do that too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I think at the end she says, would you like another one for the camera? Like that's
my favorite Strange New Worlds joke, like hands down. Like I could not stop laughing for minutes and minutes after
I
that.
believe Davey did give you credit, Akiva.
He did.
He said
My jokes are so few and far between.
Oh my God.
I want credit for the funnies.
I
I think that it's more that Akiva holds a high standard for the joke. When he wants it in, he wants the one that is the good one, the really good one.
Oh,
I did write Batman and Robin. I just want to remind you. He was the author of Freeze.
Not just Batman, also Robin.
We do need to fit more Mr. Freeze puns into these conversations, John.
I scream, you die. Feeling better?
I remember that one.
Oh my
What
goodness.
killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. They're all up here.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm so sorry.
Well, speaking of Pelly, I think that leads us into our next caller.
It does. Here is actually first-time caller to Open Pike Night. Here is Alan.
Hello, my name is Alan, or Mousepad, from the OPN Discord, and this is my first call. I have questions about Lanthanites. When Pelia was introduced, I immediately thought of Flint the Immortal from the TOS episode Requiem for Methuselah. Was he the inspiration for Lanthanites? And are Lanthanites an alien species, or are they native to Earth? Thank you for taking the time to talk to the fans.
Tell us all about Lanthanites.
Yeah.
They're alien.
Okay.
And they came to Earth a really long time ago. The inspiration for them, although I feel like it was David Reed who actually made them Lanthanites per se, and I don't know where he got that. The inspiration was Robert Heinlein's work in Methuselah's Children, which is clearly dating me. But Robert Heinlein wrote essentially a set of short stories and a novel about beings that were humanoid and non-vampiric, but lived for a really long time. And, what that would be like, it's sort of akin to Highlander without needing to chop your cohort's heads off. So it was sort of nice to have something mysterious that was earthbound. Although we postulated they came to Earth a very long time ago. Are
they? Has she been trapped on Earth?
No.
They come and go?
I mean, they all live on Earth. Like when they came, I think our view, it's a long time ago.
No,
but,
this was true. This is true.
Yeah, that they came to Earth sort of, I don't remember how they got there, but they came a really long time ago. Like, could be long enough ago that you think they're Seraphim. And then just sort of mingled and crossbred.
Yeah, and they didn't hold on to memories of we're going to leave the planet someday. The thought was that they came up with our society. And then the other thing we were trying really hard to do with her, as I recall, was think back 20 years, 30 years in your own life. You something you're like, oh, did I meet that person? I don't remember. Like you have your memories are great, but also imperfect. And if you were around for 5,000 years, that's probably how you would approach life as well, just going on forever. Because so we saw that as both an interesting opportunity for something that, like, we saw comedy and we saw drama in both of those things.
There's a good storytelling opportunity when you have a character who can go, oh, right, I remember, versus a computer that's always going to have it, or someone who has never experienced it well. So it's sort of, and it gives her a fun thing to do. And yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier with her impact of, being scared of something, like what scares somebody who's been around that long?
Exactly.
It means more coming from her.
Exactly.
And I was wondering about that while you were talking about with memory. There's a good arc in one of the Doctor Who seasons about a character who unintentionally becomes functionally immortal. And that is a big deal for her. She's like, I have to write all this down. Just has a library full of journals. Like, I don't remember. I can't keep up with everything I've lived through.
And it's funny because we never really did it, but we had an episode, which was, we were doing a Pelia death episode, which I'm very glad we didn't do. But, it's funny how loss and memory are tied, that they're inextricably linked. And we think about who we hold, who we keep, how we lose them, and how we remember them. And the tragedy of seeing those who can't remember now, and so what do you do with 5,000 years of memory is an interesting question, and a painful one.
Yeah. Man, I want to see those unused note cards. Well,
I mean, again, almost anything is available on a cash basis.
All right, you hear that, listeners? We're going to set up...
our Patreon is about to blow up.
Well, John mentioned something. So episode 306, we learned was originally going to be a different big swing. You know what? Let me get a visual here, because I do have this poster with some arbitrarily red string. And episode 306 was going to be a different big swing, we heard. Now, maybe that's because the strikes messed with scheduling. I don't know. Okay,
first, what was episode 306? You don't know their numbers.
The Salat who ate his own tail.
Yes, I can never say Salat. So I always pronounce it wrong. But we did hear, we learned that it was that swing is going to be in season 4. We also learned from some eagle-eyed viewers that the TARDIS showed up in that episode. In the background, a little Easter egg and breadcrumb. We've talked about how Pelia journeyed with a time-traveling doctor, a little verbal crossover, but which doctor would it be? Well, episode 309, Terrarium. Erica Ortegas mentions Section 12, an interesting line because it does not appear in the subtitles, making us think you added it after the fact, perhaps after filming season 4. So 12 time-traveling doctors who might appear in season 4. Can you confirm or deny that Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor will be in season 4? My board demands to know. You will neither confirm nor deny. Understood. I take that as okay. Understood. I had some red string lying around. I had to do it.
When you've got kids, you got to do art projects, right, man?
So that's right. They may have helped with that. All right, moving on.
Yeah, the was it section Division 12, I believe.
Yes,
line wasn't in the screeners, and so when our callers and people started mentioning it, we had to go back and like, wait, what? Did you remember that line? I don't remember that line. So it was a fun Easter egg.
You can remain tight-lipped if you want.
Oh yeah,
we're not. Is that future episodes will eventually explain some of this stuff.
Heck yeah,
some of. Okay.
Now the end of the season has a markedly different vibe than the previous 2 season finales, which ended on cliffhangers and or direct implications of what was to come. Was this kind of intentionally done because you weren't sure you were getting a 4th season at the time?
Yeah.
Or was there something more? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah. No, I guess that's also true. The other thing is, like, if you've ended the season the same way a couple of times, it's always nice to shift it.
Mm-hmm.
Have an opportunity.
You can. Unfortunately, a cliffhanger provides you with a single set of values, which is cliffhanger values. We needed to have a little bit of a rebirth for Pike,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which you can't do at the end of a cliffhanger. We needed new frontiers.
That's the feeling you get from it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It feels like, okay, we're shifting into another gear here for the latter portion, half, whatever we want to call it, of this series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he goes through a genuinely extensive, long, serious, emotional journey that season 3. And so you don't want to spend every season doing the exact same thing. Like, we wanted to have some time to take him to a different, interesting place emotionally.
One other difference with this ending is I think a lot of us were expecting to get another legacy character being introduced in the final episode. Was that ever originally intended, or not this season?
I don't think ever this season. Was it? I can't remember.
No, not for this. No, we want, again, you don't always want to. Every once in a while you zig, and then sometimes you want to zag. You just the goal was to not always end the same way. When we did 2 seasons where we did that, we didn't necessarily have to end every season that way.
So episode 1 of season 4 then? Akiva's withering looks. They're so good. Because I like his looks.
Why do you want to know this stuff?
I don't want.
I told you, like, if we said yes, that we were going to do a thing, it would just spoil something that you get to experience for the first time when it comes out. I want you to. I hope you have the same experience that we have, where we get to. You actually get a thing that we don't get, which is you get to be surprised. Like, we don't get to have that experience. We have to come up with the surprise, but like, I love as a fan to watch something and be like, I didn't see that coming. Like, I love that. And so part of what we want to do is create that experience for the viewer.
Although it would be amusing to say that Christopher Eccleston returns.
That would be a miracle. Like,
climax.
It would be interesting.
Especially Eccleston. I mean, considering his history with you, like, that would be a hell of a get.
He'd look good in a uniform.
So I guess, Cam, what they're saying is, when it comes to season 4 questions, do like Victor Freeze and chill.
Is this
understood?
I would take this all as a compliment. It's something you've written years ago, and people are still speaking it. They're still using words from it. That's a fucking. Man. That's a light gift, man. That's great.
Hey, I saw that movie in theaters, man.
So did I.
Yeah.
I live in a small town, so I didn't.
Oh, we got a couple more calls tonight. Let's hear from our friend Lucy.
Hi, Open Pike Night. Lieutenant Lucy from London. Hi, Henry and Akiva. Thanks so much for being here, and I love the show. Thank you very much for Mortagus in season 3, but I'm greedy, and I wondered if we might be getting a bit more Pike in seasons 4 and 5. I'm thinking about Pluto Pike, and whether or not we might explore some of more in his relationship with Una, Mabenga, and Spock in particular. I know in A Quality of Mercy you explored the foundations for Spock's behavior in the menagerie, and I wondered if we might get a little bit more of that in seasons 4 or 5.
You ready?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep. 100%.
That's fantastic. Yep.
With Pike, once you have a character come to terms with their own impending death and fate, is it hard to find character arcs for him?
Fuck yes.
And I'll expand on that. Is it hard to balance the how much is Pike going to say, well, I know this is not how I die, when it comes to approaching situations? Or does that come up very much?
We literally ignore it at every
Okay, yeah.
Well,
it seems like you really have to.
You got a lot of people who the audience knows some element of what their future is, but that's just not how you live your life. You know, things happen to you regardless. Things that change you or surprise you, and that's what we try to put on screen.
Well, you're tight-lipped about season 4, so let's try a little bit of season 5 questions, John.
Okay. Rebecca Romaine revealed that you were offered a movie to end things for Strange New Worlds, but fought for 6 episodes instead, and she was grateful for that choice. Why was it important to you to get more than the movie?
So Paramount Plus at the time, different ownership, strangely, felt that we were done at season 4, and they said we want to finish up now, and we said, well, slow down. We kind of promised that we'd bring the audience right up to the edge of TOS, and you guys were part of that promise. And they were like, oh yeah, we were, weren't we? Everybody was busy. And
memory's a funny thing.
And so it became a conversation about money. And they said, why don't you do a movie? And, we'll give you 2 hours and we can do a streaming movie. And, our point of view was that we needed to give all the characters their due. Let us share with you where we believe those who you never see again end up, and how we get closer to those you do see again as you saw them in the original series. So we negotiated, and we felt like we could do it in 6, and they felt like they could pay for 6, and off we went.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
When you started the series, did you have ideas for where some of these characters might end up? And did any of those change if you did? Without specifics, of course.
Well, when I wrote the pilot, I knew where almost everybody ended up. I made up, the only one I made up in the pilot is La'an, right? I mean, so she holds a special place in my heart, because mostly what we do as landlords of Trek is we try to keep the house tidy and the windows clean and not leave too many dishes in the sink, or the sheets too stained. But she's special to me in that way, and no, I didn't know what was going to happen to it, although I do.
Now we do.
All right.
Yeah.
We got one more call.
We do have one more call from our longtime friend, Abby. Here we go.
Hey, Open Pike, Henry, and Akiva. Abby Summer from the First Flight podcast. Thank you to all of you for all you've done for Strange New World and its coverage this season and beyond. My question today is, Star Trek often offers hope to people, and these days it feels like we could use some hope. So could you speak a little bit to how you try to infuse that into Strange New Worlds? And do you personally have anything that is giving you hope right now? Because I feel like the world could use it. Thanks so much. Hope this finds you and all of yours well.
Well, it's also a good reminder just to state that, Akiva started on this, probably a year or so before I came in, but they hadn't shot a pilot. They had a script. I came in around 2020, and the show did not start working until COVID. And we were like right in the middle of, it was a crazy time, where we were shooting in Canada. We couldn't be present. We had to go and wait for 2 weeks in quarantine if you were going to go to set. And it was a lot of stuff. So, there was a lot of what we spent our time talking about was the world and hope. It was something I think that Star Trek had provided for us all. It was a thing that, I think the thing that the room brought, that all of the writers brought, was like either a love for or an appreciation of what Star Trek had done for the world and done for us in particular. I was 5 years old when I started watching Star Trek. It sticks with you. It stays with you for a long time. So in some ways, just to jump forward 5 years, that was a difficult time. This is a difficult time, but Star Trek is, and has always been in its own way, like about looking into the future and saying, there is a future that has a lot to offer us. There is a future that is a bright, interesting world. I'd like to imagine that that's where our future will be. That's what our future will provide for us. That's what it could provide for us. That's what we get from it. Like, that's what I would get from it as a viewer. So that's it. I only bring that up just to say that I think it's in the heart of the show. And as both fans and caretakers of Star Trek, we try to keep that alive. Sometimes you see darkness, sometimes you see, difficulty, but you always see light.
I agree with everything Henry said, and I think it's a terrible fucking time out there. It's just, the world is awful, and unexpectedly so. But I think, like Henry, I fell in love with Star Trek when I was little. It was the 60s. Really, it was the 70s, and it was in reruns on WPIX Channel 11 every night at 6. And I didn't know that much about the world. I just knew that I didn't feel like I fit in it. And yet there was a place that seemed like a destination I could get to, where things made more sense, and there was joy and wonder and hope and adventure, and the idea that there is a destination, that we are not stuck where we are, that the walls of the world are not impenetrable, and that we can reach and grow and be kind and be loving and connect and make the universe better. That's real. We just have to keep remembering. And Star Trek does its best to remind us.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. This next question is not meant to be a tell us what's best. It is genuinely your personal. Do either of you have a favorite episode of season 3?
The writers had to give us their favorite lines from their episodes. As Henry remembers.
Henry has to double up on this.
Oh, it's so funny that it is all a blur at a certain point. I mean, I have season 5 in my head right now.
I was going to say, what do the words "this season" mean to you two right now? 4 or 5?
I like this a lot. That ate its tail.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I do. It's cool. It's got a lot of really classic Star Trek values, right? We're doing that thing with the crew together for the first time with some very sort of elegant little handoffs. David Reed's a really good writer, including La'an's there on the bridge and then she beams off, just leaving us right with that core group. And it does the trick that, for me, was done best by Star Trek. He's black on the right side. No, I'm black on the left. The idea that these are O. Henry stories, these are Twilight Zone episodes, that there is a narrative reversal at the end, and everything you saw, everything you believed, you see differently. And so with that ending of our best, our brightest, having become those which devour us, that's good sci-fi storytelling. So I do like the episodes. Classic Trek. I like it a lot.
I was trying to think of the what's it called, a Space Adventure Hour. I feel like is the one that really is a special episode in my head, because it feels very distinctly Star Trek in its own way. It is extremely funny. It has our cast performing in ways that is so different from what they are, and yet they really bring it. It's got a really good mystery at the core of it that turns, has a twist that you don't see coming. It reveals something about character and has a surprising change in who they are. It both seems to be making fun of the past and then has a deep, deep love and heart for it. That's the part that the speech that Uhura gives. I mean, not Uhura, but the character who she is playing.
We've been doing that all season.
Yeah.
about the importance of science fiction, and like when I hear that, it reminds me of the value of Star Trek and the meaning that it has for people. And it's like what I love in that moment is because you go from this moment where you think, oh, they're making fun of it, to, oh my God, I feel like I want to cry, because it's really telling me that they get it. They actually get the purpose of it, and they lean into it and they do it. So like I'm fond of that episode. I mean, I'm fond of a lot of the episodes that we do. I tend to like when we have a wide range of things. That I love the ones that are scary. I love the ones that are funny. But I particularly like that one because it surprises you.
It's kind of both. Not scary, but I mean, there's, like you said, a mystery, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Henry, you already gave us a one-word tease for season 4. You gave us terror, so you're off the hook. But Akiva, we are going to ask for just one. Loosen those tight lips a little for one word that will not spoil anything, but when we watch season 4, we'll go, that's what he was talking about.
Free money. There's no one word for season 4. No one word for you.
I mean, you gave us puppet, years before the reveal, but
the beginning of the end. It's not one word.
All right.
Oh,
We'll hyphenate it.
We've got some phrases before, so yeah. Well, Henry and Akiva, thank you very much for joining us once again for the Open Pike Night Showrunner Retrospective. Season 3 has been a blast, and we cannot wait to see what you've got coming up for 4 and 5.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Open Pike Night listeners. Lieutenant Lucy of London here.
Hey there, Open Pike Night listeners. It's Platy M3 here.
Have you guys ever thought about calling in and being part of the show yourself? It's dead easy. All you have to do is go to openpike.com.
You can record your call right there on the page. All you need is a phone. But if you need a little more editing time and you want to cut those breaths, speed it up to 105%, just to slide in under that 90-second cutoff,
You can send in an MP3
to openpike@gmail.com.
and the guys will use it or maybe montage you. But anyway, you'll still be part of the show. They're available on all social media platforms, so just look them out.
At Open Pike. But if you want to hang out with me and many of the other wonderful listeners and callers, oh, and yeah, the Open Pike Night crew is there too, look up their Discord. It's a Trek-positive place to hang out with some of the nicest people you've ever met online, despite our individual feelings on episodes. You can find that link right on openpike.com as well. Finally, if you're all caught up on Open Pike Night episodes and are fine just tossing Jesse aside, but still need more Cameron and producer John in your life, you should check out their other podcast, Green Shirt, A Newbie's Trek Through the Next Generation. Although the show name is now completely a misnomer, you can hear Cameron experience TNG-related content for the first time, along with producer John, Rob, and Bobby. They have finished all of TNG and the movies, but after a brief summer separation, they are continuing on with their mini Deep Space Nine episodes and plowing Saucer Section first into Star Trek Picard. Good luck with that one.
Have fun. Enjoy.